Hi everyone, welcome to Wargaming Parrot. I am David and today's video is going to be talking about desensitization. Desensitization isn't a topic that's covered too often, especially not in a dedicated video, and it is oh so useful as a technique and oh so important to your parrot's welfare, confidence and happiness. Now when I'm talking about desensitization, or desense as a really useful abbreviation, it is the process of getting someone or something, in this case our parrots, used to something that's foreign to them or unusual or potentially scary. And it is very useful and very important to not only their confidence, their happiness, but also just their general well-being in life and making sure that they're just having the best life they possibly can. Now desensitization isn't just used in the animal world, it is just used in all sorts of different walks of life. It's used with humans an awful lot too. For example, if a human suffers from anxiety, or even parrots as well, commonly you use CBT or desensitization techniques to get us used to the things that cause us anxiety, expose us to those things so we can start to build a tolerance and get over them. And it's exactly the same for our parrots. Sometimes there are things that cause them fear and they are very worried and scared of things, and they need to be introduced to them slowly and carefully and in a structured manner so they can get used to these things, build their confidence and be happier. With parrots specifically, desensitization is just applied in so many different ways. It is applied to, as I said, help build their confidence so they're used to all sorts of different situations. When you're talking about travel carrier training, that involves desensitization. When you're introducing new foods, again, desensitization. When you're trying to get them used to a new trick or toy, that is desensitization. You need to introduce that toy and let them get used to it before you can even start to begin thinking about training them to interact with it. And yeah, the applications for it just extend everywhere. Just in general, confidence building, as I mentioned earlier, making sure they're confident and happy around different things and they don't react in a very strong negative way to things. This could be a person or any sort of other thing, you know, just making sure that they just are tolerant and happy around all sorts of different situations, because building that confidence into our parrots allows them to be happy and not react in certain ways which would probably be negative and very scary for them. Leading on from this, lots of parrots suffer from neophobia, and neophobia is basically just the fear of new things. It is incredibly common with parrots, can be quite common with humans too, but when our parrots are neophobic and scared of any new thing, very, very nervous, it really isn't the best for them. It just creates lots of scares, just not a very conducive, happy and comfortable environment for them. And that's generally down to us. It's not down to the parrot. The parrot is not just scared of everything. It's just their natural behaviour, you know. When you see something scary or unusual, you react to it. So it's up to us and our training to introduce them to these new things so they don't react negatively and they're comfortable around all sorts of different situations and things that they can have just a really content life. So how do you apply desensitization in your life? You know, I've talked a lot about the benefits of it, and in reality it's very, very simple. I recently did a video on Patreon about getting parrots used to crows, because I don't know about you guys, lots of parrots are very scared of crows. It's kind of a natural reaction, and building some tolerance towards that is useful. And on Patreon, I introduced Mr. Crow, our plushy friend. You can see Pickles isn't actually very scared of him now, because we've been working with it, and we talked about just introducing Mr. Crow. Just to not spoil it for my patrons, I'm not going to go too much into it, but basically we used Mr. Crow and used all sorts of techniques, including positive reinforcement around him, bringing him closer and further away depending on their reactions, and just allowing them to be around Mr. Crow so they can see he's not too much of a threat. Now, we didn't put him right next to them because we don't want them to be like completely desensitized to crows, but he's a very useful tool and he's available on my Amazon store if you want to check him out, but you can pretty much use anything that looks like a crow. Another way you can practice desensitization is introducing your parrot to new environments. If you've got a travel carrier and they're happy going into it, through desensitization I might add, then you can take them all around and let them see all the different places. It's also pivotal when you're starting to get your parrot harness trained or free flight trained, so you can get them used to being outside before you even take them outside, so they've got a safe environment in a travel carrier. And you can even do this in your house, just taking them in different places in your house and rewarding if they're not used to it, just letting them know that these different places aren't scary, they're just different places for them to explore. Now, desensitization is often the first step if you want to train any new trick with a toy or interaction with a toy. Say for example, you've got a toy and you've noticed your parrot just isn't interested in it. it could be either because they don't know how to interact with it or they're scared of it. So you need to desensitize them to it. I often do this with all the novelty toys I use and the trick training I do of our parrots. The very first thing I do, which I'll show you an example of just after this section, is just let them get used to the toy. Let them just interact with it, make it positive by positively reinforcing them for going near it. Then I can start working on a trick training. And this can take some time with some parrots, so you have to be patient with it. It's not literally gonna be just like, yeah, this is amazing, I'm gonna play with it, I know exactly what to do. To desensitize them to it and take all the different steps you need to get them used to it. I have a video on trick training, which I'll leave a card for now, which may be to introduce some more of the concepts to you. So just to reiterate, because I know I've sort of touched on it, but just to clearly define what you do when you're desensitization training your parrot, you introduce them to the object and then you positively reinforce, making sure that they have positive associations with these things, or at least do not show fear responses. So if you're seeing a fear response, you ideally want to stop and then maybe pause what you're doing, wait for a moment to calm, then reward or remove the object. You can do this in negative or positive reinforcement sense. I've got other videos which talk a bit more about them in detail, so please do feel free to watch through my back catalogue. But that is the basic concept. Very, very simple. Just reinforce or take the object away when you see calm and just keep on repeating it. And then hopefully you see a very confident, happy parrot. And even without the negative and positive reinforcement, just exposing them to these situations in a structured, calm way can be very, very helpful for your parrot. So guys, thank you very much for watching. I hope you found this video useful. Any questions, as usual, please feel free to drop them down below in the comments. But in the meantime, from me and a very cuddly Pickles, take care and have a really, really good day.